Oh, give me just 1 second while I do something here. You ready? You ready? Welcome to the timeout box. That's right, lovelies. We now have a timeout box, and this is the way we're presenting it. Sakona is now in the bad voidling cage and will be made fun of the rest of stream. Congratulations, Sakona. I hope you enjoy being made fun of. Not all of stream, but I will use you if I ever need to make you the butt of jokes. This redeem will randomly change price. It will randomly appear as different things. Oh, it went too far. And yeah, it will also be used to punish people. In which case, if I am dealing with somebody who's just annoying me, I will put you in the box, and I'll let everybody know that you are just straight up annoying me. So it'll be used in fun and in actual punishment. Because, I mean, look, if we're going to have stickers, we might as well have a punishment box as well. But the price will change, the name will change, the redeem will change, it'll move anywhere, and eventually there'll be a voidling in there. Yeah, I have a bad feeling it's going to, But also, if I want to drain people's money, well, now I have a way of doing it. Oh, don't worry, we're getting a dunce cap as well. I just need to find a nice one. And apparently we're going to be doing this accent now for some reason, so give me a little bit while I figure it out. But yes, there it is. Look at the lovely little box. Why are you putting me in a cage? Really? Really? Well, you're going to have to wait because there's not a cage on the screen I can use, so you'll have to wait. So today, as you know, today is going to be the lovely horror day. You should know this already. We have talked about it repeatedly, over and over and over again. So if you're not expecting horror tonight, too bad. Deal with it. All right? We good? We on the same page? Good. I'm glad we are understanding each other now. And we're going to go through our little thing here that I do every single time. We're going to read through everybody who checked in. Chat, how many of you are there today? How many are here right now? Welcome, Lumen. We are stuck in the lovely British accent for some reason. 81? Good, that's a reasonable number. Do we get more stickers for homework? Fine! I will see if there's been more submissions, but I doubt it. Let's see, how many submissions are there? No new submissions! We are still at 81. You only have 80. You only have 8 stickers so far. No 10 yet. Are we ready? Are we ready for the check-ins? First off, congratulations are in order. Where did the stream go? I've lost it. 11 hours ago. 9. Thank you for the tier 1. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the menagerie. Genuinely, I appreciate every single one of you so much. And every sub does help me quite a lot. Now where were we? Here it is. All right. So first, Admiralty, congratulations on first. Glitch of the Ditch, congratulations on second. And Meow Kitty Cat, congratulations on third. Are you ready? Here we go. We're going to do this fast. Hello, Meow Kitty Cat. Hello, Gem Fox. Hello, Carmia. Hello, Unstable Raccoon. How dare you? Hello, Talissima, Necro Ninja, and Galactic Grr. Hello, Random Opossum. Hello, Gibbets. Hello, Spooky Nemi and Kelbob and Imana. Hello, Silver Bang. Hello, Nelia. Hello, Sukya Peach. Hello, Admalik. I recognize so many of these names now. Hello, Kay. Hello, Vay. Dreams. Hello, Annabelle. Hello, Puppies. Hello, Stellar. Hello, Sleepy. Hello, Shanks. Hello, Evie and Kelly and Frost. Hello, Eli and Hat Guy and It's Xenix. There's so many of you who are repeaters. I love that. There's like people who've come in here and just become part of the community. Hello, Bella. Hello, Momomia. Hello, Wolfies. Hello, Nefi. Hello, Sakona. Hello, Samurai Queen. Hello, Rookie. Hello, Uppenly. Hello, Marixel. Hello, Deshawn. Hello, Asher and Embry. Hello, Kayla's wife and Discorded Fox and Lee Luku. Hello, Spooky Cast. And if you want me to say hi, please check in. Hello, Misty. Hello, Mobear. Hello, Rainy Day Tay. Hello, Julia. Hello, Shiny Whatever. Hello, Glitch to the Ditch. Hello, Goblin King Cody, Red Moon and Ruby. Hello, Sunny. Hello, Little Mouse Ocean. Hello, Lakia or Leica, hello Leica, hello Humenia, hello Lumen, hello Rena, hello Formidable Brookie, hello Glitch of the Ditch, thank you for the bug. Hello Cat, hello Lunar, hello, I'm such a good doggy. There you go, you happy Wolfie. Ooh, thank you so much for the redeem, Julia. Cage, I'll put myself in a cage in a little while. Hello Fuwafu. Fua. Custard. I don't know what that is, but it sounds tasty. Hello, Rika. Hello, SKZ Fan 20. Hello, Bellatrix. Hello, Sakuna. Hello, Lucida. Hello, your local Astro Sinful Microwave Chicken Witch. And hello, Kitty. Goth. What time was that? Did anybody match? Did anyone check the time on that one? We good? We good time on that? And for everyone who is new here, I guess we need to take a little dip below, right? Here we go. So, for those of you who are new, and for those of you who do know me, this is the lovely, lovely basement. See, I had this basement specifically made to house people like you. You know, my fans, my friends, my accomplices in crime, my beautiful, lovely... Anyways, we're just gonna lock this up now. I love how distracting flattery is. You're never letting out. You're never getting let out. You all need to stop enjoying the cage so much. I'm gonna get rid of swinging, okay? I'm gonna bolt it down to the ground. And then you'll never swing ever again. Huh? No, you don't want that? At least act like you don't want to be here. Come on. You can get just like a little bit of like, oh no, I don't want to be here. This is the worst. Something. Come on. Okay, there we go. Oddmanly's got it. There we go. Okay, you can get a little swing. Woo, woo, whoop, whoop. And whoop, and whoop. Oh, wait, I need to unsmooth this. Wait, I can do a woo. Hey, look, I can make it go fast. No, we'll make it go slow. There you go. And a little shaky, shaky, shake. There, we happy? We good? Goofy. Well, we're gonna change the hue down here a little bit. Fine, you know what? We'll do this as well. You ready? There's some shakes, and now you get a little shakes. Dummy. Okay. Good. I'm glad you all had fun in your cage. Thank you for the head pats. And thank you all for the hype train. What the heck? Thank you. I appreciate it. That is crazy. Oh, there are some cool unlockable emotes. If we hit level 4, we can get one that sets things on fire. There's a freaking out. Why is level 4 so cool? All right, well, apparently I have to wait till level 4 before I can get any. Only one person can redeem the red button. The red button is a 1 redeem per stream. It's a special thing, and it's going to be hidden. It's going to move around. It might not always be red. It'll be a secret, and you'll click the button. You'll be like, oh, I didn't know that's what it was. I might even hide it as a different button. What the heck? Y'all, thank you for Calbob. Calbob, thank you so much for the subs. Thank you. You know what? Since you all are so cute, and y'all have gotten you all started a hype train, I guess I can give you 1 extra sticker. What do we say? Do you want 1 extra sticker? Just 1. You get 1 extra sticker for being cute, okay? Here you go. Bloop. You're at 9 stickers now. But I will take them away. If you aren't on your best behavior, I will take them away, okay? Also, I found the cage. So, there you go. Alexa, 5-minute timer. So, thank you for the resub. Honestly, resubs are the coolest. So, wait, if we get level 4. No, I can't make any promises. I can't make any more promises. So, no promises. I'm not going to make any sticker promises because you're going to hold me to them. And you're one sticker away from 10 stickers, and then I have to figure out what to do for 10 stickers. And I can't just give you a bigger sticker. Somebody said, oh, just get a new fancy sticker, like a purple one. No, that's no fair. I need to make something cool, okay? So we'll find something good. We'll find a good reward. You'll get stickers when you've earned stickers, okay? Yeah, if you're bad, I take away stickers. If anyone is bad, that's right. That's right. No one is safe. So, game we're going to play today is called No One Lives Under the Lighthouse. It might be short, so we might swap it up with another game later on. We need to talk about reward systems. Carmia, no. This is an unjust society. I'm not. I know you know how a punishment system should work, and it should never be a group punishment system. But you know what? Oh, I can. I absolutely can take away stickers. I need to make sure that you feel uncomfortable, that you feel like at any time I could take them away. That's right. This is my evil plan. I always knew I'd win. I mean, I'm in a cage right now, but I think it's funny. Carmia he's even more distraught than everybody else. What if I eat a sticker? Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just eat a sticker. I'm just gonna eat a little sticker here. Okay, give me a second. We're just gonna. Oh, I can't get it. I can't get it. It's outside of the cage. Fine, I'll put it back. You got lucky this time. If I get hungry, I might eat the sticker. This is so stupid. What is this? What is this stream? Who exists like this? I could eat Sakona. No, Sakona's in their own cage. See? I can't get them. Okay. Well, we are at 4 minutes and 27. We got 3 minutes left. I exist like this. I do exist like this. It's so goofy, honestly. Can we earn stickers for our watch streaks? No. Because it has to be the whole of y'all doing something lovely to earn stickers. The stickers is earned as a chat. I might make individual stickers eventually, but it's going to be a whole nother system. You know what I could do? You know what I could do? What if when people win the slot machines, you get another sticker? How about slot machines get you more stickers too? Would you like that? Maybe we'll make special stickers. Maybe. There's still gonna be a wall. We'll see. Hydrate is for Voidlings too. Voidlings hydrate. Also, I found Mountain Dew. We have slot machines? Yes, when anybody follows, there's a slot machine that goes off. But anyways... Oh, sorry. I forgot this. That's right. The cage follows us around. One second while I figure this out. There it is. Perfect. You kind of want to be in the cage? Well, then you better find the redeem before anybody else finds it. I found Mountain Dew. Yo, so I was cleaning earlier, right? As a good person does. And I'm like looking around trying to find like cleaning supplies. I'm trying to find a sponge, and I open up a cabinet, and there's a whole 12-pack of Mountain Dew Zero. Absolutely delicious. Incredible. So I now have Mountain Dew. Hey, thank you for the new subscription. Thank you, GG. I appreciate it. So I'm so happy. Oh, well, wrong section. Mountain Dew Zero is the best Mountain Dew aside original. Because Mountain Dew Diet is awful. Oh, I didn't lose it. Oh, because I would like to get into healthy shape. I'm working out, y'all. And so one of the things I'm doing is making sure that the sodas I drink are going to be okay for my body as well. Because I want to be healthier. I mean, like, I'm not like the worst shape, but I'm definitely not at my best. And I get sick too often. See, because I just want to do, like, I want to have more energy on streams. I want to do longer streams. I want to be able to give y'all the best performance I possibly can. And so I am been working towards, getting my health better. And one of those things is, replacing bad things with slightly less bad things and doing more veggies and just trying to be healthier. Also, February 13th is going to be the 24-hour stream start, so I don't want to die. So yeah. It's gonna be a lot of trying to get myself into enough energy shape that I can stay awake for several days. Or else on day 2 it's just gonna be, all right, why things were here and here I am enjoying things and you cannot give each other stickers. How could you give each other stickers? No. Unless I figure out a system. I would have to get a whole nother website. Wait, what if I make a whole nother website where I do ASMR streams every morning? What if I made an entire website where it's just it's the good noodle board and it integrates with people who are streaming, so only people who watch me follow me could be there. Because that way it can actually be tracked and I can have real redeems and real gambling. Well, not real gambling. You wouldn't earn any money. You just earn stars. And then you could trade stars or stickers. No, we can get a whole wait. I could do a whole okay, hear me out. Okay, I have idea. Cage, right. So I'll put the cage on later. Idea. Okay. Whole website has my lore and everything on it, but we can also have packs that you can unlock that have virtual stickers. So you can collect virtual stickers. And that way everybody would have their own virtual sticker based on my character. We could have fan art stickers being submitted. We could have like ones that I've commissioned submitted, and you could trade the stickers. Everybody could get little stickers. You know how cute that would be? And then a few of them get made into real stickers. Does it get you anything? No, they're just absolutely digital, free things. Write it down. I don't want to write. I don't have a pencil. I have wine. What if I drink wine to remember instead? Yeah, that's fine. See, now I'll remember better because I drank wine. Yes. Okay, what if somebody else wrote it? Mods, can you write down sticker website for me, please? Could you share the wine with us? Maybe. I could do it in Discord, but there's only so much I could do with Discord. And this would allow anybody to do it, as well as get external people involved, which would push my brand further beyond people who are in the Discord. Mods, please. Please, mods. I would really appreciate it. Mods. You think they did it? Chat, I'm so not needy. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm so independent and super powerful and strong on my own. Mods, I love you forever. Mods, please. Do it for me so I don't forget. Did you feed your mods? I will always feed my mods. I will love you anyways. Anyways, game. Your mom, I'm Trash Panda. Pandas can write, they have thumbs. That's specifically why I hired a Trash Panda for free, because pandas have thumbs. How do you think Vanya got in? Also, I've known Vanya for a long time and they're cool, but they have thumbs. I don't hire non-thumbed people. I'm thumbist. Sorry for you to find out this way. Anyways, woof 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 woof. Wait, where's the game? No one lives under the lighthouse. There we go. Found it. No, I got the game. Tanya. Gibbets, have you been calling her Tanya this whole time? Okay, I was about to be like, Gibbets now finds out that Vanya's name is not Tanya. That would be amazing. Woof, 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 woof. I would laugh so hard. This game should be short. Sally Face might be played afterwards, but I've been wanting to play a lot of cool indie games, and a lot of cool indie games are horror, so I haven't been able to play them. So, you get this tonight. Here we go. You ready? I hate when games do this. Wait. Okay, let me try to get a good resolution here. Why is... Okay, so look, there's no back button, but I can go all the way around one direction. This is the highest resolution I can make. Okay. We ready? Hello! This game kicked butt? I believe it. I believe it. I need to turn down the audio just a little bit. 1 second here. Open up volume mixer. Are you ready? Oh, you're good. Is it okay if I get a good job? I'm proud of you for working so hard today. You know what? Sure, Stellar. I'm very proud of you for working hard. I am. You're doing absolutely lovely. And I'm proud of all of you. Genuinely. Y'all do such hard work. I know you do. I see you all come in here sometimes so worn out and frustrated with life, and you all get together, hang out, and you're just amazing, okay? That's all. Here we go. Even you, Sagona. Everybody does great. Interesting. Oh. Well, that's fun. Huh. So this game is called No One Lives Under the Lighthouse. Apparently no one lives underneath the lighthouse. So, yeah. I don't know what this game's about at all. Oh, I know we're in a lighthouse. I can tell you that much. I can tell you we're most definitely in a lighthouse. I can't open the front door. Thank you for the hydrate. Thank you for the stretch. No one lives under the lighthouse. I don't think there is anybody in the lighthouse, but there might be. Hello, Nymeria. How you doing? Isn't Nymeria a Daedric prince? Or am I thinking of something different? Aha, here we go. Okay. Oh, I thought Nymeria was the name of a Daedric prince from, like, a thing, but I might be wrong. Interesting. I always had an idea of making a game about a lighthouse, because lighthouses are just so cool to me and so creepy. Because they're just like, you know, they build them on these little tiny islands. And they're just here. And you go out there, and you work. Bye, Necro! Oh, Game of Thrones, that's right, that's right. And it's also one of the name of the wolves. Interesting. But did you know you can get jobs working at lighthouses, and they're so weird. Oh, here we go. No, but there is a Sakuna. We have Sakuna, we do have a Sakuna who checks in regularly. Wait, what is, oh. Thank you, Kira. Yeah, but I mean, like, I think I'd like to try this. Oh, is the game too loud for anybody, by the way? I think I have the audio locked so it won't go above a certain volume. I just want to check. We good? Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Right, so the idea I had for a game, I wanted to make a chaos game where it starts off, that's just like, it's called Lighthouse Simulator. And the game would start with you going to a lighthouse, and it just being like, hey, here's instructions on how to run the lighthouse, right? But as you manage the lighthouse, things start getting weird. And eventually you find out there's something underneath the lighthouse, and it's a maze of tunnels, and something's coming for you. Which I think, I don't know, like, if I'd get in trouble for making a game that's not, like, listed as a horror game. Would that get me in trouble with somebody? My favorite day, oh yeah, yep, same. Sheogorath. So I love that Daedric Prince of Chaos. And Mandus. I'm missing, okay. Not on. What if I do this? Do you want oil? Do you want oil, perhaps? No? Dang, okay, well. There goes my one plan. Do you want oil? Do you want oil? No. Nothing. Huh. See, the problem with games like this is they're very interesting. I'm very stupid. Not like in a dumb way, but in a dumb way. Oil. 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 Do you want to be... Okay, see, that's something, right? It's definitely something. But I know it's nothing. It's just a stupid little tunnel. So, okay. Smart. Big brain. Big brain here. I'm in a lighthouse. Okay? There's a light. But the light's not lighting. Meaning I'm not lighthousing right. Right? So... yeah, my lighthouse is not lighthousing. How do lighthouses lighthouse? Name of the head pats. I don't know how light. Very carefully. Yeah. Lighthouses lighthouse very carefully. That. Aha! 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 Yes. I was not being. Lighthouse successfully. We have lighthouse. Yes. Top tier lighthouse man. GG, game over. That was on me. I should have walked all the way around it. Oh yeah, no. We're blind now. We can... They stole my light. Where is my light? Previous keeper disappeared. No, I haven't. I'm still here. Suppose ran away on a boat. Left the duty of his, the bastard. Arf. Now there's no one on the island. Now there's no one on the island. It's me, the man in the boat. This is my accent, Neo. Thank for the hydrate. Cheers. But you look like you know the job, do you? You should have lit lamp on evening, and she'd keep it working until sunrise. You also should keep it clean all round, especially the lens itself. The establishment will India assistant soon, and... Man cuts too many words in half. It makes it hard for me to read. I'll get back here in a week. Good luck. Don't lose your mind from loneliness. Hello, Zen Moon. It has been a while. Welcome. One second. All right. We've done it. Am I the size of a bird? I am bird-sized. Why am I small? Or those are just giant birds. Those might just be giant birds. Right, I got you, you can do it. So is this what you all feel like on a normal basis? Do you just walk around at this height? What is this, like 5'4", 5'2"? It's supposed to be the normal voidling height, honestly. Well, I suppose it's probably very normal for you all, but for a normal-heighted person like myself, this is very terrifying already. So terrifying. Like, what if someone comes over here and just decides to kick me? What do you do then? Oh, jeez. See, he could have eaten me. Thank you so much for the follow, Daisy. Welcome to the menagerie. It's greatly appreciated. 5'2" is the default height for voidlings. Ow, don't bonk me. Just so happens to be that all of you are around that height. Not me personally, but most of you here are around that weird, strange height of around 5'2". Yeah, no, voidlings themselves might be like 2 feet tall. Should play Slender Man. That's an old game. I don't know how I feel about that game. Goofiest game to ever cause somebody get killed. Guess away. Oh, look, it's a little box. It's a voidling house. Look how small it is. Look how tiny. To think, you people always live in places like this. Oh, it's so dark in here. How do you see? And you all have your little shovel and your little ladder. Oh, so you can get onto the shelves, so you can reach up to those high places. I get it. Very, very clever of you to keep a ladder around there. Now, it's a normal shed. Why are we small? Because we're voidling height. This is actually a Cormia life simulator, I believe. Oh, here we go. This one's a little more your... Oh, no, this is adorable. Look at this. Imagine having to sleep so close to somebody, though. Like, he sleeps there, I sleep there. Oh, come on, we need to at least have one more room. Oh, we do have another room. Oh. Scooey. Can I pick up the broom, perhaps? Yes, there we go. All right. Nice and clean. Well, at least we have fresh provisions. Gene die yet? No, of course not. How would I die? I've barely started this game. And I can head back into the normal voice. Okay. Alright, we'll grab the, light. Do I already have the oil? I do not. Oh, that's a problem. Ooh, it's locked! Oh, I'm excited. Huh? I'm such a good doggy. What the heck was that? Ah. Weird. I'm sure it's fine, right? There's nothing... I think it's funny, it's the one window I chose to look out of, too. Let's see if we can go get some oil. Is this how they used to work? I guess it makes sense. Suppose I never thought about how lighthouses used to work. Oh, here it is. Oh, I need to go get some more oil. Okay, nobody's up here. There's somebody on the beach. Somebody leaving? Huh. right. We gotta go check that out. I'm so white. My first thought, wow, that looks horrifying. Let's go look at it. I would die in a horror movie. We all know. We all know I would die in a horror movie. It's not dangerous. It's a light. It could be anything. It could be friendly. You know? What if it's safety? What if it's my best friend? What if it's a dog? What if it's a dog with a flashlight on its neck, huh? And I didn't go say hi to the dog with a flashlight around his neck. And now there's no way we don't get to meet the cool dog. It could be a talking dog. His name could be Riley. Riley the super awesome cool dog. Y'all, we didn't get to meet Riley the super cool awesome dog. It's all your fault. Welcome, Beamini. Or George. Gorg. Jorg. Ah, yes. The dog. Jorg the Deceiver. And his light of deceivingness. He comes to you in the middle of the night. Ah! There he is! There's Jorg! I'm gonna go meet Gorg. Oh, I peed. I hope not. Okay. Just gonna... Only thing that could make this game better. Only thing that could make this game better. We took Crime Scene Cleaner's ability to wash things, and then I could scrub at this. You know how great that would be? I'd just sit in here cleaning up the goop. It's so fun. Okay. Ah. Yes. It's a Snapple top. Alright, let's go check on... That's a lot of slime. Interesting. Oh, it's the giant birds. What's up, giant birds? How you doing? Did I choose wrong? I don't have my light. 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 Oh, there's nothing in here. Oh. It's just a freaking bird. Shh, don't say it. That's a nice sound effect. Oh, I need to ask them what they used for this. Chat, I need to remind me to message the doves to figure out what they used for this. Oh, I love this. No, the devs, the people who made the game. I wanna go message them to figure out what they used for this, the rocks. Oh. Oh, sorry. Oh. My boat. Well. We should go on a beach trip to get ice cream. I want to get sea salt ice cream. I've never had it before. That's a rock. You know what they say. Stop the rock. You can't stop the rock. You can't stop the rock. Thank you, Sinful. Thank you. with the paranoia. Da, 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 da. Oh, there's no hand on the screen, so for a second I thought I just had a PNG of this rock. What do you mean you made ice cream? How do you know how to make ice cream? Gotta me. You have a toilet. Well, they think of everything in this game. Oh no, did I miss the first one? Did I really lose the game? Ah, I bet I lost the game already. I hypothetically know how to make ice cream. I've never done it before. I've made cream, though. And butter. Oh, I bet I lost the game already. What if we start over? Fish fingers and custards. Okay, if we find another rock, and the new rock that we find is the third place rock, we're starting over. Because I wanted to go to the port, but I didn't. Because I didn't think about it. Oh. Interesting. Huh. Who made the... Which one of you did this? Which one of you made this mess? Come on, raise your hand. I know one of you did it. Gibbets! How could you? You got scared and you made... What? Gross. Y'all need to keep this place clean, okay? Ooh, I love pizza. I love that noise. Thank you for the hydrate. I don't know how it's spelled, but I know what you mean. They're fully guided. Great work with this. Oh. 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 Ooh, thank you so much for the Wadim. Oh. Oh, it's all broken. Something's gonna happen, something's gonna happen, something's gonna happen. Okay, there's some sandbags we can use. I have a key. So we need a rope. We need a key. Oh, we need sandbags. Right? There it is. I do think it's funny that my first instinct is just, we're gonna go fix this. Not, you know, oh my god, ah! As it should be. So rude to me. Well, I don't really think we... This is going over the window. Oh, okay, so it's like solid. Interesting. All right, now we need some sandbags. But don't worry, there's nothing under the lighthouse. Hello, Zombie Biscuit. How you doing? Can we fly the giant birds? I don't think so. Oh, do I not need the sandbags? Am I being dumb? It's already been redeemed. Only one redeem per stream. That's why there's somebody in a cage. Oh, okay. No, I know we need the sandbag. Girly pop. Fine, I'll go grab them. Unless I'm wrong and this is not the right sandbag. Maybe this is like a food bag. Okay. Nope, they're a bad voidling. They belong in the cage. Huh. I'm missing something, right? Like, that's clearly the bag I need to grab. Right? Right? Like, that's what makes sense here. You are late, Catbox. How dare you? I understand what needs to be here. Well, I need a bag to fill, don't I? You think shovel? We'll try shovel. We'll try shovel. It'd be funny if I could figure out how to make it so when anybody says they're late, they go into the voidling cage. Only once per stream, though. Okay. Ooh, I could totally do that. I could totally have a throw things at bad voidlings. Okay. I can't grab the bags. Maybe for the head pads. Alright, guess we're gonna be doing that southern voice for a little while. We're gonna move it up a little bit here so I can be walking around here. Alright, ain't nothing that we can do here. Ain't nothing down here. Here's the dock we saw earlier. Ain't nothing on the dock. The only thing I can think of is this, if this is one of them progression things, you know? Like, I gotta go fill up the oil first, and then I can do the bag thing. No. You love my southern? Well, I also love my voice. Well, it's good because it's mine, so... Alright, here's what we're gonna try. I'm gonna go up there and fill it up. With the oil. Oh, let's fill it up with oil first. And that do something. Nice and good. Now we're going all the way to the top. Top it off. And then maybe let me do the whole, thing. Does it feel like a Southern Belle? No, darling. Are you a Southern Belle? Alright, that's been done. Ah, hot chocolate, lovely. That's good. And obviously this ain't gonna work now. Thank you for the hydrate, cheers. Nah. Everybody pretty. Thank you for stretch. Alright, heading on way down. Down, 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 down. Sugar, we're going down swinging. Cowbell, baby. Oh, girly. Alright, so these are the bags. These are the only bags I can possibly imagine. Unless I'm going insane here. Oh, come on. Am I gonna have to Google this? I gotta Google it. 1 second. Wait a second. What? Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Oh, that's a hatch. I didn't realize that was a hatch. That's on me, Glow. That's on me. I was not curious enough. I did not look into it. I mean, tell me, did y'all see that hatch? Or was it just me? Because I definitely didn't see that. And it makes sense. I was probably trying to use food. No, y'all didn't see it. See, okay, it's not just me, it's not just me. I feel a little bit better. I did. I want to do that tomorrow, maybe. But I'll have to do an early stream, like a very early stream. I think I might do, so we're going to be doing a late night stream tonight at 9 p.m. So I have 3 hours after my stream. Huh? Wait, do I need oh no. I need 2 of them, don't I? Anyway, so, we're going to be doing a late night stream at 9. I'm going to, oh, wait, thank you, German. We're going to do a late night stream at 9. It's going to be very good. With the lovely Mukia and some of her friends. But that means that tomorrow morning stream will probably be delayed, and I will not be doing an evening stream. There you go, Gibbets. Yes, yes, yes. We are going to be playing a unique, fun game that a dev gave me. I think it's always cool when a dev gives me a game. I will 100%. Any dev wants me to play a game, I don't care what the game is. Hit me up. I'll play it. Well, okay, as long as I can play it on Twitch, you know? There are certain standards we have here. Like, if I have to, censor the game, then probably not the best. Thank you for the check-in, by the way. Has it been an hour already, y'all? There's no way it's been an hour already of stream. Y'all, why do I feel like the first hour always goes by so fast? Right? I mean, I guess that's the middle point, so I should do like all our middle stuff. What do you mean 3 bags? Oh, there's so many bags! They're about to make me super swole. Boy failure of a... What the heck? What the heck? What the heck? What the heck? Too fast, too furious, you can't catch me. Woo, dodged. Get dodged. Dodge. Ah! Wait, we're gonna see if we can make it in here. Oh. That wasn't really a spider. Thank you for the stretch. No, that was just a monster. Don't worry though, it's not under the lighthouse. That's what's important. This is a horror game, y'all. I do want to remind y'all that we are playing horrors today. See, it respects boundaries, yeah. Me too, bud. I would be dead. Honestly, going up these many stairs this many times, I would be dead. We'd be done. I don't think they have elevators. Exactly, like the first time I'd already be out. Enjoy fighting your coworker! Learn to teleport. You right. You right. I do like that we just decided we're going back to bed. Oh, maybe I'm not going back to bed. Please? That was at the beginning of stream. It puts you in a cage. It only exists as a one-time redeem. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, let me go make a bubble vader. You right. It was sus. Oh, okay, there we go. Not yet. Okay. Maybe not. Something moving down there. Is that flies? Oh. There's nowhere I can hide. There's nowhere I can hide. The light went out. The light went out. I can't leave. Oh no. Oh fuck. Uh-oh. Oh god. More mess. Okay. I'm just gonna clean this up real quick. I inked. Okay. Oh, such a rainy day. Such a lonely day, and it's mine. The most loneliest day of my life. Such a lonely day should be banned. It's a day that I cannot stand. And when you go, I wanna go with you. And with you, sir, I wanna die with you. My hand and walk. We're missing the key. Na, na, na. Exactly. We have so many bug friends. We can't. You're right. I should feel happy and safe and comfy here. Da, 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 da. And when you I wanna go with you. Why do I have a shovel? Why a shovel? Okay. Hi, Calypsy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wrong way. How do I turn around? Give me a second. There we go. I think I chose the wrong direction. I chose the wrong direction. We cannot jump. There's no jumping. Well, I think that means I was going the right way. What do you think? It's gotta be, right? Like, that is where I would go. You see, like, cause that's the, you know, the monster is there, and he's clearly like a crab of some sort with its little crab legs. Aha, here it is. The key. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, like, I mean, but what else do you do, really? You're getting hunted by a weird monster. You have your choices, you know, stay inside the room all the time. But then, I don't know. I feel like that wouldn't be safe. You know, eventually it's going to come find you and do something, right? It doesn't have to obey the laws of physics, so you don't just stay in your room. Maybe you do stay in your room. Yeah, spider crab. I mean, what kind of legs are it, huh? Oh, that'd be very cool, Buttertub. I hope it goes well. Let me know how it goes. Galactic Gur. Stretch. Stand up. Go up and down stairs a few times if you can. Like, run up and down stairs. Touch your right hand to your left knee. And then to your right ear. And then left hand to left knee. Then left hand to left ear. Or to left hand to right knee. Then to the left ear. Do it a few times. And then try to do something. Yeah. If you have bad ADD brain, sometimes it helps do something that's out of the ordinary that will, like, sync up your brain a little bit that you have to focus on. And so weird tasks mess up. So left hand to right knee. Right hand to right knee. Left hand to left ear. Right hand to right ear. Oh, no. I've just had ADD my whole life, and my mother always tried to find ways to help me with it. And that was one of the ways. Here come the sun, na na na. Here come the sun, and I sing. It's alright, but na 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 na. And here we see the wild in the natural habitat. The natural predator is the chatter. I too. Kami! How you doing, Kami? I see you looking out there. I see you lurking there. What you doing? What you doing, Kami? Look. I forgot to get oil. Here come the sun, na na na. Here come the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here comes. What if we do like karaoke on 10? Or no. Hi! Hello. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you found me. We could do a karaoke day. Maybe I'll make a vote. Maybe I'll offer a few things that y'all could get for the 10. Last time we did karaoke, I went for 8 hours. I streamed for 8 hours singing non-stop and drinking. It was great. The sun. That was back in the earlier days. It was. Why'd you stop spinning? Thank you for the head pats. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the menagerie. Oh, look, the moon. Why are you off? What is going on with this thing? Y'all, I swear, did we... You fueled it up, right? Like, one of you fueled it up while I wasn't looking? One of you took a... It's dark. It's dark down here. It's quiet. It's really quiet. Do I open it? All right. No, it's fine. We're fine. It's nothing. Glad there's some lightning. So I can see here. I just hope the moths don't come back. There we go. There we are. Look at that. Perfect. Oh, it's locked again. Did the light go out again? What the heck? Okay. I guess we're just gonna keep doing this over and over and over again until it finally works. Oh. It's dark in here. There's no more. All the containers are gone. The hatch opened. We don't. Oh, we have options. Someone's at the front door. The hatch is open. There's something there. There's something there. The front door no longer works. The front door no longer works. I have no oil. I have no light. All right. Are you ready? 1. It's there. It's there. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We got this. It's gonna be very simple from this point onward. All I need to do is take this up top and refill. Oh, the music, it gets louder and louder, doesn't it? The awful, awful music. But it's fine. We have the light. We have the light. We're fine. And we're awake! Look at that, look how easy that was. Two, three, 4, 5, 6. have standards to maintain. Best we can. We'll ride the shelves. Oh, do I need the hammer? Okay, I'm gonna grab the hammer real quick to fix the shelves. Oh. Interesting. Can I eat? Wait, can I actually eat? That's a lot of goop. Alright. I'm gonna go grab the hammer from the shed. If the shed's still there. It's Silent Hill! I hope Daddy Pyramid heads out. I mean, what? It's froggy outside. Hi. Doing good. Emotional support soup. So far, you know, nothing's under the lighthouse. We've been right so far. We haven't seen anything under the lighthouse, right? No one lives under the lighthouse. That was no one. No one's just a bit weird. But you know. Alright, I got this. Ah! Hello! Hello, Vika. We do love Pyramid Head. We do. Okay. I don't know if anything on this table needs to be fixed. But this feels nice, right? Things back to normal. No one's under the lighthouse. That's the name of the game. In the game section. Ah, there it is. Okay, well, I guess we'll just go up here somewhere. Maybe we'll go from the inside. What do you think? From the inside? Let me get up there. Let me fix my house. Oh, we didn't move the chest? Yeah, you're right. Apparently I don't have a choice where the chest is. Okay. If I was a place to put up here. Come on. Come on. Let me up there. Let me up there. Aha! Found it. Normal noise, don't worry about it. Perfect, okay. I don't think the game likes that we're fixing the house. Who knows why? This is normal noises. This is it's what it's like living in the UK. I've been there before. This just happens sometimes. Every once in a while, you just hear weird moaning noises. Put me down. There it is. Oh, hey, look. Thing. Oh, and a fork. I'll make sure there's nothing else on the floor here. Oh. Okay. Everything looks good. Thank you for the headbands. Burgers! Woo! I just have soup. Oh, right, the lighthouse. Why isn't it doing anything? Hello, Ivory. It's been a little bit. How you doing, sweetie? Passing by, boy. Bibenternatives. Well, I gotta look up what that is. Wait, my... Oh, you were writing my internet is acting up. Okay. That's a horror game where you... I don't like this. I don't like this. No, 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 no. No. Ooh, ooh, no. We're a lighthouse keeper. I'm a lighthouse keeper. I don't need to worry about that. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We're good. We're fine. I don't need a will. No. No, no, no. We just make the lighthouse work. That's my job. I'm a lighthouse keeper. I make it light. Above my pay grade. That's a temporal anomaly. I don't do that. That's how you get stuck in the back rooms. No. You open a random door, it opens, and it just feels like everything's wrong, and there's nobody behind the door, and then there's no other doors in that room. Don't go in the room. That's the back rooms. And the back rooms will try to eat you. Back wounds. Oh, well, Vika, I hope you enjoy your time here. Eat the back rooms, eat the back wombs. I don't want to go to see what it is. I'm too curious. I'm too curious. Ah! Whoa! No! 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 I don't want to go down! Why? No! Oh no! Oh no! It's the game said no. You're not done. Okay. Okay. Left turn. Oh God! It's all. Magical John, you don't know that. Maybe if I play Witch hard enough, nothing will happen. I'm sorry, I didn't shake back and forth. That's what I didn't do right. Oh. No. No. Bad ending? I thought that was a gun. I thought that was a gun. I thought I was about to shoot myself. What did I tell you? Back rooms. What did I tell you? Back rooms. This is what happens when you don't listen to me. When I don't listen to me. We get backs roomed. I knew it. I knew it. It's a secret level of the back rooms. You know, I prefer the back rooms when it's just like nondescript office space. I hate when they made all this crazy lore. I'm just like, why? The back rooms can just be a space that exists. They don't need to be crazy. It having nothing in it except just office space with no understanding is horrifying to begin with. Oh. Ha, get juked, nerd. Aha! Haha. Thank you for the hydrate. Yeah, and I like the idea of like liminal spaces just being like wrong spaces, you know? It's like multiple spaces. Did I find a secret? No. No, I think I broke it. I think I broke it. I broke it. I don't want to break it. I'm sorry. You know, I'm leaving the light. I don't want it. Here comes the light. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the light, and I say, it's all right. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah. No, I ain't gonna mess with that. You can't make me. Huh. Yes. The chain of infinite death. Oh, it was the chain of infinite death. Today I've learned something. Dying kills people. Don't eat my bars. Oh, is it? Oh, we are getting close. We have 14 minutes left. Big ass spider. Ruff. Thank you, Jupiter. Hello, Jupiter. It's been a little bit. How you doing, sweetie? Remember, tomorrow's evening stream, or morning stream, is going to start later. Okay. If I just... yeah? No. Okay. Oh, I saw something. Aha! I have always been good. I'm never not good. I'm the goodliest boy. I am the boiliest good. Ain't nobody as good or boily as me. I'm sure this is fine. That's fine, right? This is fine. How many dead people have died? All of them, surprisingly. All dead people have died. Yeah, all dead people, dead. Some of them stopped being dead, though. No, we're just fishing. I'm fishing. You think this is doing something that I'm missing out on? I just kind of want to wait. I bet it's like a little bigger lighthouse. You know, it's making something spin. Hi. Ah. Okay. Oh. Oh. Interesting. Huh. Oh. And everything was okay. Forever and ever. The end. Interesting. Oh, my clothes are hanging up nicely. Oh, there's a well. Look at that. This wasn't my house. Wait, there wasn't a house here before. There's so many houses now. What? Are there multiple people living on this island? Here's my house. Oh. Jesus. Oh, lights went out. What's up, homie? Sun is long enough. Lighthouse is still unlit. Where has the new keeper gone? I guess I'll go check it out. Okay. What the heck? Huh. We'll go to the top, check it out. Oh! Okay. Maybe the hydrate. That's not right. This is different. Chain's gone. Lever's gone. Thank you for the stretch. I'm still alive, that's fine. And that's the death way. Okay. Very confused. Oh. What is that? Huh. Oh. Okay. What are these? Interesting. Ooh, sacrificial dagger. Yay! So excited. Yay, it's a human body. Oh, he's fat. It's fine. Oh! I thought we were taking your... Okay. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. That is fine. We good? Oh, we're fine. Everything is okay. Oh, shoot, we're playing. Nothing here, I guess. Odd, weird. Sakona did the secret redeem. I guess everything's fine. I'm so confused. Do we just go to bed now? No. It's just strange. There's all these houses out here, so I can't tell if this is like the future, or the past. No, I mean, it can't be the... Can't... It could be either. Chad, I want to know. I also wish you wouldn't breathe so hard. Yeah. Oh, they're gone. Okay. Thank you for the hydrate. Oh, what's up, homie? The living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither. Okay. What? Okay. Well, I guess we go home? Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go home and see what happens then. Thank you for the head bats. Oh. Did he? Oh, you see, it would help if I knew the Bible. I noticed, Gibbets. I'll be soon. Okay, now we're fine. Oh! What is this? What is this? I guess we go down. Oh. What are... what? Do I give it to you? What is... Oh, jeez. As we're gonna end stream. Ah, fun, huh? I'm gonna be thinking about that later. Oh yeah, something's most definitely chasing me. But also what's chasing me is the time! Yes. We've reached the end of stream. We've reached the end of stream. And so it is time for me to find somebody to raid out to. Let's see who we have. Who are you? We're gonna check out some people real quick. This person is starting soon. Oh, by the way, I've been invited to the ASMR Twinks or the Twink ASMR. I don't know, something like that. Twitch group. So I'm probably gonna join that group because it's just a group of male ASMR artists. And I think it'd be a lot of fun to be part of it. I mean, we can be part of multiple groups, yeah. So, I'll join that for now. And if he is doing Legos, that's always fun. Should we raid into somebody new? Should we raid into Fia? Oh, Inky Moon Arts is doing I don't like Marvel Rivals. I don't really raid into Marvel Rivals. Yumi's doing just chatting. How many people we got here today? How many people we got here today? Oh, they're doing art. 83. 83, really? Sick. Cinephon is doing... Oh, that's a big collab thingy. Okay, we're not gonna raid into a collab. That's ASMR. We're not reading ASMR. Ah, Fia's fine. Fia's good. I like Fia. You want to say hi to Fia? All right, y'all be good. Say hi to Fia for me. And we'll do... Copy the raid message. Go say hi for me. Be cute, be cuddly, be sweet, be lovely, as I know you are.
Sugar potion.
And I will see you all later, okay? Don't forget, there's going to be a stream later on tonight at 9.
In that case...
So in about 3 hours, we're going to have another stream. Bye for now.
So you have no idea. Let's get these out of the way.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so... This goes like that.